I love movie posters.
And I also love Lego, could you tell?
So in this video, we're going to make Lego versions of 3 of the most iconic movie posters, using my Lego building, photography and Photoshop skills. And make sure to watch till the end to comment which one is your favorite of the 3 posters. So without further ado, let's do this. And the first major challenge was to find out which posters to even choose for this project. You know, with movie posters looking increasingly worse over the past decades. I mean, what are all those floating head abominations? Like seriously, how did we get here?
Wow! Incredible!
So after investigating some of the older movie posters to find one for my project, I decided to go for a movie poster that might just be the most iconic one of all time. And I'm of course talking about Jaws. Like, come on, this one's beyond genius. And... yeah.
Oder du Pfui-Wappler von dem Poster, gib schon Lego-Version erst!
Wait, what do you mean there already is a Lego version of this poster? Yeah, okay, as it turns out, there already is a Lego Jaws poster in the Stranger Things set, where the movie is literally just called Shark. Anyway, I won't let that stop me. So by far the biggest hassle with this poster will be to build a shark. And there were a few options for that. The most lame and boring one being to just use a regular old Lego shark. I mean, look at it, this one's just way too small. Then I thought about using the shark from that one creator set, which I had lying around and not even built yet, but this model didn't really work either, because it just doesn't match the shark on the poster at all. It barely even looks like a shark from this angle. So I decided to build my very own shark, with a similar vibe to the one from the official Lego Jaws set, except bigger. Oh, and I also find it funny how in the actual movie, the shark is portrayed as this horrendous beast, and in the Lego set he just looks so cute and adorable, as if he's just like, "Hey you guys, check out this cool meme I found!" And dear lord, building this shark turned out to be quite the challenge, because it basically only consists of round shapes and Lego is everything except round. But I luckily found a solution by using these hinge plates to create the shape and adding a lot of teeth. And for the lower jaw, I made use of some quite disturbing building techniques with another hinge plate, as well as snot bricks and wedges. And this is turning out super great. And because I felt like it, I also built the backside of the shark, so I could use it as a cool display model. And there we go, and geez, this might be one of the coolest things I've ever built. And let me know if you want the building instructions for this shark, because maybe I'll release it over on my Patreon if enough people want it. Moving on, I stitched together a retro swimmer minifigure out of a few simple pieces, and also started to build the title next. Yes, we're even building that out of Lego. And with everything built, it was time to set everything up for photography, which was quite straightforward. And I also photographed some cotton, which we will later use to recreate the spray, as well as some 1x1 transparent round tiles for the underwater bubbles. And after making some adjustments to the raw files in Lightroom, it was time to stitch all the photos together in Photoshop. On top of a similar background, I cut out all of the elements, put them together and... okay, it looks like we still got some work to do. So the first step to making everything look more organic was to add a blue tint over the entire shark. And then I proceeded to add some highlights and shadows to match the lighting closer to the original poster. And yeah, now it looks a lot cleaner. Then I added a vignette effect to the underwater portions of the poster and also some bubbles with the help of the 1x1 tile picture. Then it was time to also add shadows and highlights to the swimmer, as well as adding imperfections to the water surface to make it look a little more realistic. And like I said before, I utilized the cotton photograph for the water spray. And after perfecting the size and layout of the letters of the title, I also added some subtle film grain onto everything to kinda match this retro handmade vibe of the original. And now I present to you the finished movie poster of the movie Shark. Yes, Shark, we're going full circle, baby. Awesome, now let's get straight to the second poster of today, for which I decided to go for the poster of a movie I really enjoyed. And I am talking about Joker. Wait a second. No, I'm talking about the Joker movie that's actually good. Who put this piece of garbage here?
Hans Götze Flammenwerfer! Jawohl!
And we already run into some problems with our main star of the show, because this version of the Joker doesn't appear in any Lego sets. I also couldn't find any matching yellow shirt and red checkhead torso in my minifigure collection, so I had to get a little more creative. I luckily had a Joker from the Lego Batman movie lying around, whose head will do just fine. And for the torso, I took the yellow shirt from Gonzo from the Muppet Show alongside some red arms and legs. But this still doesn't look quite right just yet, so I decided to straight up craft my very own red jacket for the minifigure out of some red paper. And voila, now we're talking. Moving on to the next part, which is building the set. And unlike the Jaws poster, we're going to build everything practically right away, instead of stitching several pictures together like we did before. So I started by scraping together all the grey tiles I could find in my collection to build the staircase and main platform where Joker will be standing. Afterwards, I stitched together the handrails as well as the lampposts, which means that we got a basis for the film set covered. And as always, I only built what the camera... The Camilla. Yeah, Camilla. Who is Camilla? That's like the boss from Mario Galaxy, right? And as always, I only built what the camera will actually see, which is why the rest of the set looks super janky and colorful when viewed at any other angle. Now the only thing which is still missing are the walls, for which I could luckily reuse many of the pieces for the Spider-Man bridge from my last video. But after the walls got pretty high while still being super thin, the whole thing collapsed. And even after I used up practically all the 10 pieces from my Lego collection, the wall still wasn't quite high enough. But since I'm such a pro in Photoshop, that shouldn't be a problem. And to get the minifigure to pose in the right way, I ripped the arms off and reattached them with sticky tack to give them the right angle, as well as placed one of the legs a little further away. And with that being said, we are ready to take the picture. And with another pick of the title, we are ready to start editing. After some light rooming, the most important part was to select all parts of the tan wall after expanding it upwards and adjust the color to be closer to the original. I also made the staircase a lot darker and added a few highlights across the whole picture. Then I edited the Joker's eyes to be closed and inserted the logo and gave it a rougher look. And if you look closely, you'll spot a subtle green lens flare on the original poster, which I also made sure to include. Also adding some grain as a finishing touch, and after all these edits, our Lego version of the Joker poster is finally finished. So far so good. And for the final poster of today. I obviously had to make the poster of Back to the Future. It would have been a genuine crime to not make this poster, with my debut video on this channel being about Back to the Future. And I luckily was able to just reuse Marty and the DeLorean from said video project. I once again ripped the minifigure's arms off to get the iconic pose, and Marty was ready to be photographed. I also made sure to achieve a similar lighting to the original, with this rim light from behind. And in the official poster, Marty is wearing those sunglasses, but those aren't really a thing in Lego outside of minifigure head printings. So I had to improvise and photograph some random Lego head with sunglasses, which we will later edit onto Marty's head. Well then, let's move on to the DeLorean. And I don't know if you've noticed, but parts of the DeLorean randomly just kinda disappear in the official poster for some reason. So to mimic this, I replaced the lights with a grey plate and removed the front tire. With that being said, I placed my lights in a way to highlight the glowing interior, as well as placed some orange LEDs on the side, to mimic the orange light from the flames, which we will later add. Now, and if you want to build the DeLorean yourself, you can get the instructions for both the Back to the Future 1 and 2 variant, as well as all of today's posters as phone wallpapers, by becoming a Viscount supporter over on my Patreon, links in the video description. And the last thing we'll need to photograph is one of these lamp posts, which I quickly stitched together and even put an LED onto. Perfect. Now with everything photographed and another round of light rooming, it is time to start the final poster edit for this video. And just like with Jaws, I started by stitching together this background as the foundation and began to insert and cut out all the main elements, including the flames, which I took straight from my old Back to the Future video. But I only decided to include one fire trail, because 2 would look a little weird and janky, with Lego Marty's legs being way thicker than the ones from Human Marty. The next step was to add these lamp posts and make the lights pop more with some lens flares, before finally cutting out the sunglasses and putting them onto Marty's head, and painting in some reflections of the scene. Now with all the elements in place, I began to add highlights like in the original poster. And for this poster I decided not to build a title in Lego, because the Back to the Future title is a lot more complex and weird than the other ones we faced before. So I just recreated a similar looking title while fully embracing the Lego aspect of this project. And this concludes the making of the final poster for this video. Please have a look. So here are all 3 of the wonderful posters we made today. One that's classic, one that's more modern, and one that's truly timeless. Get it? I'm really happy with how these turned out. And this project was a lot of fun, so let me know in the comments which one of these 3 is your favorite. And if you enjoyed this type of video, please let me know with a like and a subscribe, because maybe I'll one day make a part 2 of this series. And with that being said, a huge and enormous thank you to my Patreon supporters Kiesel1503 and Leonhard Eibinger. Seriously, a huge thanks to you, it really means a lot. So thank you so much for sticking by until the very end. And if you're still hungry for some more LEGO Back to the Future, be sure to check out this video where I recreated the original time travel scene as a LEGO stop motion movie, if you haven't already. Well then, have a fantastic day folks, see you soon, lots of hugs, bye.